Irfan Handukić was born in 1950 in the city of Bihać, Bosnia and Herzegovina. He graduated from Pedagogical Academy, Department of Fine Arts, in Sarajevo in 1972. He also graduated from Pedagogical Faculty, Department of Fine Arts, and graduated graphics in the class of Professor Josip Butković in 1989 in Rijeka, Croatia. Handukić finished postgraduate studies at the Academy of Fine Arts and mastered graphics in the class of Professor Dževad Hozo in 1999 in Sarajevo. He completed a PhD on Methodics of Visual Arts at Faculty of Human and Social Sciences in Sarajevo in 2008. He also worked as a full professor at the Academy of Fine Arts in Sarajevo and spent time in the course of study in Italy, Turkey, Austria, Hungary, the Czech Republic, Germany, France, Iran, and Australia. Irfan Handukić has been awarded multiple times in the field of arts and graphics. He staged more than 60 independent exhibitions in his home country and abroad, participated in more than 180 international exhibitions of graphics. He is the author of the work Graphics in Artistic Educational Work in 2005 and Methodics and Culture of Visual Arts Upbringing in 2008. He published over 20 of professional theoretical papers and was a participant of several important symposiums and conferences with his work. The Academy of Fine Arts in Sarajevo is a publisher of recently published monography Irfan Handukić on occasion of his 40th anniversary of artistic biography, from the opus of painting from 1972 to 1997 and opus of graphics from 1982 to 2017. What follows is an overview of Irfan Handukić's artistic development given by an art historian, Jelena Balević. During the first 20 years of creative work, which lasts over 4 decades, Handukić thematically, by painting and graphic art, almost exclusively addresses the nature and its own forms. Occupied by the landscape of Krajina, which inspired him with its geomorphological and aesthetic characteristics, forcing him to thinking about the manners of transposing the art and about his representational structural modulations, Handukić actually approached the graphics as his final artistic destination. Considering the formal stylistic attributes of this period of Handukić's artistic opus, from his early work over the complete transition to a graphic medium in 1997, there is a clear tendency for reducing the subject matter and converting it into pure character in the painting. Starting from the earliest of his works, the landscape of Krajina, which was made during 1972 and 1975, which represents the starting point of the artist's research in the field of visual elements and their relationships, the style qualities are spotted and they will be fully developed in the next cycles. Expressive colors, dynamic gesture with sporadic advances in terms of form and plans in the image. However, these early landscapes carry certain restlessness, the one which is characteristic for young artists' need of defining his own artistic expression. Although the artist primarily treated forms from nature, world in the image gradually takes the shape of one atypical reality that is inhabited with reduced subject motives, with the gradual phasing out of the third dimension. The role of the main element of the painting is taken over by the gesture, which will remain for a longer period of time a constitutive element of the subject, as well as a tendency towards the abstraction, which will largely be marked by Handukić's paintings. Significant steps further are the works from the cycle Geomorphic Structures, made from 1976 to 1980, in which the forms of nature are reduced to landscape signs that mark the painted space of specific compositional solutions, expressionistic or surreal style determination. The painter skillfully uses painting surfaces, and by composing them, he builds space in the painting, elaborating their internal tonal relationships, using the different textures that contribute to a clearer differentiation of plants, a technique which will in later works, by the usage of different materials, flourish. These landscapes of amorphous or geomorphic shapes and expressionistic gestures are the individual proclamation of author and pictorial expression of his character, emotions, and states of mind. By evident alienation from the natural world, he searches for the indigenous world of the image, in which objects are revived thanks to their own life juices and the background turns, from neutral by completely unpredictable dynamic into a torrent of wild colors. In connection to this, Handukić shows the consistency in his creations. Through numerous formal and structural experimentation and dealing with different art techniques and procedures, he skillfully crosses the path from distinctive mimesis to complete transfiguration of objects from nature. The cycle Variations of Krajina, which was produced from 1981 to 1988, embody a new visual and conceptual thinking on a familiar topic. Landscapes that Handukić interprets are passed through the filter of his personal fiction and individual experiences. They are, in fact, a mental reflection of Krajina, blue and pink hills, orange, purple and dark blue fields, or monochrome rocks, which often take the role of the main motive in the paintings. Sometimes this motive, abstracted beyond recognition, is transferred to the sphere of the symbolic, while the entire subjected scene in the picture comes down to character. These works represent a logical continuation of the previous cycle, with the difference of transitioning the substantial forms in the foreground of the painting, with a significantly more neutral background. Extremely important innovation is raising the issue of a different plastic shaping, resulting from the permanent need for new painting methods, techniques, and materials, as well as their introduction into the tissue of the painting. Specifically, in dealing with primary pictorial elements, color, composition, texture, structure, and substance, the artist intervenes in the formal and structural background of the painting by the implementation of various elements of collage, cardboard, paper wallpaper, wood. The author goes a step further, transforms the canvas into the media pan board, and by cutting it, he creates stylized formats. The artist transforms even the pictorial tissue of the painting itself, introducing elements of a completely different art, the one that will be fully developed in the first cycle of Handukić's graphic art, Krajina and Kroz, that was produced from 1982 to 1989. By the medium of graphics, which is a new medium for this author, the distinction between his early works and those resulting from the 80s can be seen. In the process of generating an abstract, imaginary space, in the aforementioned graphics realized in the traditional techniques of etching, linocut, and aquatint, artists fully transposed subject into character. One can say that the parallel between Handukić's paintings and graphic works from this period lies in the arrangement of different colored surfaces, combination of techniques and materials, which, in the graphic work, is a result of a sequenced process of printing the graphics sheet. Stylishly, he is still defined by the abstract landscaping, nurturing the current practice of the serial development within a problematic cycle. The artist, partly by this graphic cycle, paraphrased simultaneous painting cycle Krajina, in which the structural heterogeneity of artistic works, resulting from combination of materials in the picture, is solved by maximum effect in graphics, creating a coherent pictorial unities of homogeneous structure. Immediately, he accesses to the disposition of individual segments of the painting and the structural modification of the painting field, where obtained components become fully autonomous entities in the image, but, although different, do not harm each other, and where the drastic formal and color contrasts do not lead to demolition of the unity. By this, he established a completely new visual aesthetics, in which pictorial elements receive particular character symbolic meaning. Already in the codes, artist conducts the elimination procedure in which many of the earlier present elements search for new artistic solutions, implying the minimalist concept in the future. Neutral solving of the background, monochrome color scheme, a high degree of simplification of amorphous forms whose differentiation is achieved by contour, horizontal or vertical hatching, or using one of the previously known patterns, are the main characteristics of these works. Although sometimes the idea of environment landscape in which forms reside can still be seen, a process that will lead to its complete disappearance is imminent. Handukić's works from the 80s fit in the general tendency of the graphics of a new sensibility, in which there is a freer and more immediate access to the graphic medium, but which requires greater flexibility of interpretation. The innovative visual concept that is propagated by the works of this graphic cycle will develop fully after 1997, when the primacy of graphics in Handukić's creativity will be fully secured. A different stream, whose origin is also found in variations of Krajina, is the oil paintings of larger format, entitled Landscape of the Area, that were produced from 1988 to 1991. The main motives of this cycle are the abstract forms emphasized by expressive connotations and new meaningful context, the so-called geomorphic totems. The accent is on the individual case, which becomes a carrier of meaning in the painting and autonomous pictorial entity. Marked by intense colors, strong gesture, and expressive line, these works represent a manifest of strong coloristic and formal expressiveness that is highlighted in dynamics and associative figuration on the border of abstract expression. While the artistic works created in the 80s are, in terms of content, related primarily to landscapes, works created in the next decade, from 1991 to 1997, variations of characters and pictograms, are thematically artificial in character, of an associative type with an emphasis on character symbols. Within this cycle, we can see two parallel flows of separate plastic structural properties. Their common denominator is the character definition, which speaks in favor of the idea of painting pictograms, the one that contains different, not visual elements, with the possibility of their separate visual communication. The fact that the painting was preceded by the artist's deep reflection on choosing, appearance, and manner of application of painting surfaces can be seen in works in which he, by using a variety of techniques and materials embedded in the fabric of the picturesque images, presented the associatively conceptualized plastic structure. Considering the fact that the texture created in that manner has special tactile values, the painter uses it in several ways. Formally, by defining the painting surface field in which he subsequently intervenes, and substantially, by concentration of texture patterns and its thickening, which actually constitutes the dominant motive of the painting. The physical presence of non-pictorial structure of matter is the main characteristic of this part of the cycle. It suggests movement, forming a rudiment but very sturdy set of character compositions, raising the question of meaning and its functioning with the body of a painting. The end result has a feature of complete coherence, where non-pictorial material properties disappear, and their origin can only be speculated. The motive processed in this manner, the manifestation of the concentration of plastic happening in the painting, additionally stands out from its structural tissue by color and light, with the help of rich tonal elaborations and occasional accents of pure color, with the aim of intensifying the general pictorial dynamism, as well as specific solutions of light in the image, which seems to emerge from within its interior to the intended locations. This contributes to the use of delicate materials, like metallized aluminium foil, and techniques of working with it. The second current within this mentioned cycle represent the works in which the painter, by a combination of amorphous and geometric shapes, builds the dominant motive of sign determination, coloristically resolved by strong entanglements of pure colors, with expressed dynamism and gestures. Compositional confrontation of different colored fields and forms in these paintings also opens up, in addition to visual and plastic reading, a possible metaphorical discourse. The turning point in Handukić's creativity occurs in 1997, when the graphics as an art discipline becomes the primary medium of his artistic expression and artistic sublimation of all his ideological movements and visual language research. The graphics of this cycle, according to their characteristics, can be interpreted as writing in the painting, or pictograph, or artist's imaginary, minimalist artistic language of science pictograms. As pictogram is the oldest form of a letter, its performance, or graphics, can represent one isolated episode within a series of events, or graphic cycle. Within his graphics lives a unique and original world, which develops over the years, evolving, changing, and renewing in accordance with new ideas and technical innovations that the artist regularly conducts. Sophisticated visual geometrical structures, present motive of the graphics, Handukić's pictorial rebuses, will testify about the artist's aspirations for achieving well-tempered harmony of conceptual and process flows in the years to come. In the graphic medium will arise in a unique and original world of highly developed personal artistic expression, which was over the years changed and renewed in accordance with new ideas, technical innovation that the artist implemented by tireless listening of his own creative impulses. if we consider the general tendencies in graphics throughout the 20th century, it is obvious that the graphic medium has emancipator properties in relation to the artists and their work. This kind of creative liberation was observed in Handukić's work after 1997, when the graphics became the primary means of his artistic expression and the center of a new research in the field of visual elements. In the first works created after 1997, Handukić deals with strong contrasts in almost all structural elements. By contrasting the forms, combining strict geometric, fluid, and amorphous forms, he establishes the specific dynamics of the composition. Light-dark, empty-full, transparent-dark, or opaque represent some of the contradictions which the artist largely used in the designing the structural content in his graphic sheets. The contrast of colored surfaces and textures in practice means that the artist richly animates certain areas in linear and plastic way, brightens them and/or colors them, while others deeply shaded surfaces resolves completely uniformly. During the years that followed, following its own creative impulse, Handukić gradually won the creative space for research in the field of materials and in the field of matter. By entering into a number of highly complex problem flows, often tracing a supramatismatic theory, the artist showed a strong faith in his own creative process, in which he searches for balance and harmony in all presented structure. The minimalist concept foreshadowed in earlier works develops in the direction of the gradual release of almost all factual data of concrete forms, focusing on sophisticated geometric abstraction of rich texture and unusual compositional solutions. In his paintings, Handukić builds an original and unique world of specific legalities, which is full of layered construction of forms and their setting in the space of the painting, along with the constant innovation of technical solutions, high degree of intellectual and authentic expression, and quite unexpected situations. An important feature of Handukić's graphics is symbolism. It is expressed by a number of motives by whose repetition the artist emphasizes the message of a certain semantic discourse. With the appearance of symbols, the content aspect of Handukić's graphics is deepened, introducing an entirely new moment in the existing paradigm.
jedna reprezentativna izložba zeničkog slikara Irfana Handukića. Ovo je zaista bio jedan veliki kulturni događaj kako za grad Zenicu, a možemo reći slobodno i za likovno stvaralaštvo Bosne i Hercegovine. U svom gradu se predstavlja i akademski slikar Irfan Handukić. Predstavlja se u galeriji muzeja grada Zenice. Ovo je 22. po redu samostalna izložba ovog poznatog likovnog stvaraoca i pedagoga iz Zenice. Na ovoj izložbi Handukić se predstavlja sa 20 dijela iz svog ciklusa Bliskost viđenja, ciklusa nastalog u periodu 1994-96. godina. Na otvaranju izložbe govorio je o likovnom dijelu Irfana Handukića poznati likovni kritičar iz Sarajeva Vojislav Vujanović.
novu leksiku kojom se može u likovnoj umjetnosti govoriti. Pronalazak ove nove materije koju je Irfan Handukić otkrio omogućuje slikaru mnogo. Ja sam danas na konferenciji za štampu govorio o nekim elementima koji su dobijeni ovom materijom, međutim ja bih ovoga trenutka skrenuo pozornost vašu na ono što upravo predstavlja vizualno čudo na ovoj izložbi. To je da je Irfan Handukić slikar, crtač besprijekorne tehnike, stvaralac koji za sobom već ima nekoliko razvojnih faza, iskušao gotovo sve što se moglo iskušati od prvih stadijuma neposrednog prenošenja na platno ili na papir onoga što se vidi u predmetnom svijetu, do reduciranja toga predmetnoga, do svođenja predmetnog svijeta na one osnovne morfološke forme koje garantiraju ili koje oslobađaju sliku od naracije, od priče, pripovjednosti, od slike koja služi nečemu drugom, a ne samo i sebi. Dakle, dovodeći te morfološke forme do onih geometrijskih oblika gdje je sama ona vizualna komponenta ostaje primarna na slici.
Jednostavno